So Bleach is officially over. Today we have our final chapter, chapter 686, and now we're at the end of Bleach. And it, Bleach was my first anime, my first, I guess, manga, I guess everything. It was my introduction to, anime, manga, like this huge hobby and part of my life. And just seeing it over, it's been really it's been really touching and emotional, and it's just hard to finally see. Now, before I go into this, it goes without saying that Shonen Jump, they completely screwed over this. They screwed over Kubo. For as much shit as Kubo gets, he was trying to do something. He was trying to wrap up everything, trying to give it a good conclusion. And while, he made slip-ups and everything, it's just inexcusable the way he was treated, especially with a manga as big as Bleach. Hey, it hasn't been selling as well, over the last couple of years, but at the same point, it's not like it's doing terrible. And I know it's just disrespectful to all the fans and everything that's happened, and it's so depressing and hard to hear. And then on top of that, they're like, have you heard? Here's a live action movie for you guys. Big announcement. It's like, hey guys, did you hear there's a live action Bleach movie? I'm so hyped for that. Maybe it'll be as good as that Attack on Titan movie. Remember how good that one was? Or remember, oh dude, that Dragon Ball Evolution though. Maybe it'll be as good as that one. Fuck. That's what we get. I don't know. Maybe I was too wishful thinking that we'll get a second anime. Honestly, I was thinking that they'd give us a final, movie that would sum up the ending or be an epilogue or something. And maybe even that was too wishful, thinking that we'd get one live action movie. Maybe, I'm not asking for a series. I'm not asking for a second manga series, new anime, even though I would have loved that. I just wanted a, true ending, adaptation, maybe an epilogue, maybe a, Baruto-esque movie. But no. That being said, this final chapter, for 20 pages to wrap up a 15-year-old manga with so many loose ends, they didn't do too bad of a job. Now, of course, it's not great. Of course, all this is disappointing, but the final chapter, at least, isn't terrible. So, going into it, we get to see, basically, Ichigo is grown up now a little bit. He's taken over his father's clinic. Yay. And basically, here's the big reveals come in very, very much in the beginning. Ichigo and Orihime are a couple. Now, as much as people call Orihime useless, disappointing, annoying, Kurosaki-kun, these ugly, not ugly, but just that's all the names they call her. I still kind of like her, and I still like Orihime. But even me, who enjoys her character and actually, sees the relevance of her and appreciates her, they should not have shipped them together. They should not have been married. And, it's hard not to compare this to Naruto, because it's a time skip from a huge anime, from a huge manga, all this time. And the fact that they can get Naruto and Hinata together, why can't they just put Rukia and Ichigo together? Like, why not? That's what people want, and you can't play Clueless. No, this is more fit. No, that's what it is. I mean, Renji and Rukia, cool. Honestly, Renji's a cool character. He has a cool character design, but who cares? It's Renji. I'm hoping that this is some canon shit that we have Rukia and Ichigo kind of messing around on the side. We got a little plot there. I would like to see that as a movie, some drama where Orihime finds out, goes to Renji or some. It's just disappointing, because it's been building up. Even though it hasn't been directly thrown in their face that they're a couple or they love each other or whatever, it's so implied, and it's so just through their interaction, it's been so much better and so much more meaningful than anything Orihime and Ichigo have ever done. Regardless. That's the big thing. They have a kid now. Juhabok's remnants or whatever. Like they said in the last chapter, hey, it seems like there's still something there for him. There's still his power, being sensed. And of course, 10 years later, of course, he's still kind of there. And they flash back to the final battle with Ichigo and Bach. And I have to admit, this was actually really cool because this gave more depth to all of the motives of Bach than anything I really think have been done. Basically, him saying that, like, I wanted there to be no death. I wanted to put together Hueco Mundo, Soul Society, the real world, and I wanted people not to have to fear death. And that just added so much more depth than there ever was for his character. I mean, I know you never really understood his motives. You kind of slowly like got what he was kind of trying to do, but the way you went about it, he just seemed pure evil. But here, he just added a new layer and just became so much better, better of a villain. Now, of course, his motives aren't, you know, I wouldn't say they're justified. They're not okay. You can't just be killing people and doing the stuff he did. But if this is something we knew from the beginning, I would have liked his character a lot more. That being said, it's still good. At least he was given some kind of closure in terms of his motives. At least we understood it better, despite his final battle, which, of course, if Kubo had full control, this wouldn't have happened like this. But at least we find out there's more motives to him, there's more depth, and there's a reason to him, which makes me a little, happier. I'll give him props that was a good couple pages to add into this final chapter to thread it in. Then we see Aizen still in the chair. I mean, yay, he's still alive. Aizen's probably the best character in this whole franchise, just plain and simple. It's good to see he's still alive. He's still strapped to the chair. He's still in the back. He's still, down in the dungeon. Like, there's not much to say there. Good, he's still alive. So much potential wasted with him. I guess he helped in the final battle. Would I have liked him to become Soul King or something more? Yeah, but at least they had the dignity to show him. And while his fate is just probably stuck in there forever, and who knows what's gonna happen to him, whatever. Then we get into basically Juha Bach's like actual power, and Byakuya and Soifan and everyone's rushing to like, I don't know what they think they can do if Bach is back. Like, they're rushing to like, no, let's not contact everyone, let's not get Rukia in here, like they need the break, we'll handle this. Like, what are you guys saying? Like, y'all got wrecked so bad last time. I don't know where this false sense of confidence is. I know that 10-year gap didn't make you guys super strong or anything, like stronger than you already are, but whatever. They go there, and pretty much the big twist is you see Ichigo and Orime's kid basically see also like a little black, mass ball thingy, that's Juha Bach's, and he sees it in the clinic, and no one else knows this except really him inside like the human world, and he just basically punctures it. He touches it and it disperses, which I'm assuming, I guess the best canon explanation is that he's so powerful, he basically ended it. He was the one to end it, and he was basically the Reaper, the Soul Reaper, the Shinigami to end it. And of course, all the captains over in Soul Society are like, oh, what happened? Oh, I guess that's the end of it. I guess Juha Bach's God. And then it gets basically into the last page or two of the chapter where Rukia and Renji's kid is just staring like, she's cocky and everything. I like the attitude they gave her. I like the design of her. She seems like she could be a cool character despite only getting like 4 lines here. But yeah, she's a Shinigami too, of course, and she has that cocky kind of like attitude. But then Ichigo's kid, who's all like, lighthearted and big-eyed and friendly, he turns around after destroying basically Juha Bach's remains. Obviously, like, not even on purpose. He just touches it and just shows. Then it shows that, he's like, oh, I'm a Shinigami too. And yeah, and that's the end. And they have one line, I forgot what it was, but it was like, the blade is becoming ... Basically showing that Ichigo's kid is going to become what Ichigo was and is really powerful. He destroyed Bach as a kid. He didn't even know most likely what he did, but he was able to disperse him, just showing that he has immense power and that he eventually will take on this, I don't know if it's a substitute role or whatever it'll be called, but it's just foresight for the future, like all these shows are, like what Boruto was, what everything was. I mean, and that's the end. I mean, it's, for what it wasn't a bad chapter, I would have liked to see, Urahara, would have liked to see Yorichi, any of them. Considering last chapter is more of like, hey, we see some of the captains, even though we need to see more of the captains. Hey, at least we saw like what's going on in Soul Society. Now we see what's going on Earth, or in the human world. It's so many characters gone. I mean, Chad. Chad became a boxer. That's kind of cool, I guess. I mean, it might not. A lot of people, I've heard a lot of people are not happy with that because this whole character was basically fighting is not good. Like you try to avoid fighting, and him becoming a boxer and stuff. Like at least they gave some kind of legacy to his character and a little bit like, hey, look, he's doing something in the future. But I would have liked something a little more substantial. Of course, considering he was a completely wasted character, he's always been a very great character that had so much potential but was never used. His final battle, of course, got cut out. I think Kubo would have liked to actually show that fight, and it would have been cool, showing him full armored and stuff. Whatever. I mean, no sign of Ichigo's dad or Ishida's dad. I mean, I don't think they died in 10 years. It's kind of a shame they're not there with the family. That would have been cool to see. A little joke gag where he still, kicks Ichigo or something like that. That would have been funny. That would have been funny. Ichigo's now like 27 or whatever. It would have been funny to see that. But of course we're not. I mean, no Kon. Kon is he's the mascot of the series. Not even a page. I mean, you see Ichigo's sisters. They're very developed characters, and yeah, they've grown up. And you see some of Ichigo's friends from high school. Some of the ones that are like, I'm not gonna say irrelevant, but they don't really matter. You don't care too much. Uryu is a doctor now, and he's just kind of watching Chad and just like, oh, I'm symbolically with them. But yeah, I mean, Bleach is over. They royally fucked this ending. In general. This should have been much longer. They should have had more. I don't know if some new manga that Shonen Jump's gonna throw in right now is gonna sell better or be more successful than Bleach. I mean, I know maybe there's potential in the future, but like to do this, I know I'm repeating myself, but it's still just it's terrible and it's depressing. And like I'm usually not this serious and stuff in these things, but like come on, like it's something that's so close to so many people's hearts and everything. Like I bought a Bankai sword. Like what's going on? Like I don't know. Hopefully sometime in the far future. I know Bleach is pretty much over. Unless the Bleach live action movie does amazing and everyone's like, "Oh, it's phenomenal." It's somehow like, it's making manga or new anime because it's been so successful. Unless something like that happens. But the movie's in 2018. And that's already as in, like, we haven't started. We have a director, we have an Ichigo. The Ichigo kid, generic-looking Japanese guy, actor, great. Hopefully they'll even have the, consideration to dye his hair, orange. If that, I mean, they could just do an Attack on Titan where every character's Japanese, despite, their different looks and everything. I mean, it just seems like, hey, it's a far-off movie. It'll come at some point. 2018 is just an estimate, because 2 years to make a movie, yeah. And of course, it's a Japanese movie, so it's not going to have as high of a budget. It's definitely not going to have as high as a budget because it's a Bleach movie. I mean, I feel like they're just testing the grounds for maybe making movies of the big three. But, yeah, I mean, just with all that being said, I still want to say a big thank you to Bleach as a whole, Kubo, and just, I know no one will ever see this, but Bleach is affected, and this is getting really emotional, but like Bleach has affected me in my life, just from the sheer entertainment it gave, just the emotional things, just the growth of everything, and just being a big part of my childhood. And I mean, thanks to Bleach as a whole, it for as many ups and downs as it had, most of it I'd say was positive. It was just a big series, and I know this final arc didn't go as well as it should have. The Fullbring arc, I know a lot of people still say it should have ended at Aizen, and sometimes it's hard to disagree with that as much as I would have, as much as I like seeing more. There's great parts of this arc, there were bad parts, but overall Bleach has been just a franchise that it's just a shame it didn't get its justice at the end, but I'm happy that at least it was able to end, and I'm happy for the legacy it's going to live off of, and hopefully see more in the future to finally give it justice to the ending it deserved. But that being said, that's all I got to say here. Final chapter, final thoughts, final thank you. Thanks for watching. If you're a Bleach fan, let me know what you think. I mean, I could kind of assume, just going through forums and stuff, most people are disappointed, but they've kind of accepted it. I'll be checking out the Bleach movie, I guess, in 2 years if that comes out. Not having high hopes. To me, Bleach has ended. I mean, I'm not considering that a continuation. They could have thrown in a pachinko machine, and I would have cared as much as a live action movie. They could have thrown in another live action play, whatever. Yeah, it's just weird. It's just weird. It's all over. I mean, I'm making this longer than it should be, but it's just weird that it's all over, and there are all these years, and yeah. Well, thanks. If you like this video, leave a like. Subscribe, I guess, not for more Bleach content, but for more other content. You know, I might do some Bleach countdowns at the end, you know, something, I mean, to honor it. And but subscribe for more content, games, movies, anime, and stuff like that. And let me know what you think, or any hopeful, wishful thinking you got, or any thoughts you have on the comment, or anything I missed, anything you want to say. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.